Rational number line matchup. Match the number on the right, which is this column, to the number line on the left that shows the two integers the number is between. Then we're going to write A or B to tell which point on the number line is closer to the rational number. So there are two parts. One, we're going to match the actual number to one of these number lines, and then after we do, we have to decide if this number would be closer to A or B, depending on which number line you chose. Before we get started, I'm going to label each of our number lines so that way they are easy to refer to. So I have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H. So let's take a look at our first number, 7/15. I know that half of 15 is 7.5. So 7.5 out of 15 would equal 1/2. We don't normally put decimals and fractions together, but for comparison purposes, I'm doing that now. 7/15 falls between 0 and 1 on the number line. Number line E, right here, shows us 0 and 1. Now, 7 is less than 7.5, so it's less than 1/2, which means that it is closer to 0. So that would be point A. So 7/15 is closer to point A on our number line. -2 and 99/100. This number falls between -3 and -2 on the number line. We can find -3 and -2 on number line A. Here we have -2 and -3. -2.99 is closest to -3, and that is point A. -8 and 25/100 falls between -9 and -8 on the number line. These 2 points are plotted on number line D. -8 and -9. -8, 2.5 is closer to 8, -8, than -9, so it's closer to point B. -5 and 9/10 falls between -6 and -5 on the number line. We can find these 2 points plotted on number line C. -5 and -6. -5 and 9/10 is closer to -6 than -5, and that is point A. Okay, our next problem, 8 and 1/7. 8 and 1/7 falls between 8 and 9 on the number line. We can find these two numbers plotted on number line F. Here we have 8 and 9. 8 and 1/7 is closer to 8 than it is to 9, so that is point A. 8/3 we should reduce first, which is 2 and 2/3. 2 and 2/3 falls between 2 and 3 on the number line. we can find these points plotted on number line H. Here is 2 and here is 3. 2 2/3 is closer to 3 than it is to 2, so that is point B. Negative 0 4/10 falls between -1 and 0. These points are plotted on number line G. Zero 4/10 is below half, so it is closer to 0 than it is to 1, -1. So that is point B. 23/4 should be reduced to 5 3/4. 5 3/4 falls between points 5 and 6 on the number line. These points can be found plotted on number line B. 5 3/4 is closer to 6 than to 5, which is point B. Stretch your thinking. Name a rational number between -1 and -2. Is your number closer to -1 or -2? Now there are very many answers for this problem. -2 is here, -1 would be here, and 0 would be somewhere over here. Now, halfway between would be -1.5. Some values that would be closer to -1 would be -1 1/4, which would be -1.25. You could have -1 1/3, which would be -1.3 repeating. Here you could have -1 3/4, let's say, so that would be -1.75. Okay, you can have lots of different answers. So you pretty much have to ask yourself, is it greater than or less than 1.5?